Hi folks, this is Rod Charles here at the Oxford High School Natatorium. We have the swimming and diving meet tonight. It's the Oxford Wildcats versus the Southfield Warriors. So we have pretty full lineup here for the Oxford Wildcats tonight. They should have all lanes filled up with athletes. Southfield has a pretty light squad. I understand they only have a handful of athletes swimming tonight and diving. But nonetheless, it's a great opportunity for the Oxford swimmers and divers to get wet. So let's see what's going on here, and we'll check back with you in just a moment. Hi folks, this is Rod here with the coaches from Southfield. Let me have you guys introduce yourselves.
Larry Nunnery, head coach.
Christopher Nunnery, assistant coach.
Now the rumors are you guys are related, is that correct?
That's correct. My son came down from Savannah State and helped me out with coaching, so I hope to have him here for the boys season as well. So,
how long have you been coaching?
Myself, I've been coaching over 15 years, USA clubs and high school since '09.
And you, I'm sorry, you were going to say? I was gonna pick on your son now, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
So tell me a little bit about your swim background.
Well, I was all-state and USA swimming from 9 years old on to 14. Then I started swimming high school states. Then I went to Howard University to swim. Started a master's program. Had a couple swim teams between me and my father. Got over 20 kids scholarships to school.
So you swam at Ohio University, huh? A MAC school.
At Howard University.
What's that?
Howard University.
Oh, Howard University. Must be the noise in this pool here. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty noisy, as well as being pretty darn hot as well. So what strokes did you swim?
I was a butterflyer and a backstroker.
What was your favorite?
Butterfly.
Butterfly? So what, was it 200 yards in college?
Actually, it was still 100, but I swam the 100 fly and the 400 IM at Howard. 400
IM, that's a pretty awesome event to swim, isn't it?
Yeah, I took a lot of naps after the race.
So, Coach, you were telling me about some of your plans. I know you said the team's a little bit light right now. You lost a few kids. So what are some of the plans you have and goals you have for your team?
Right now is trying to increase the numbers for both the girls and boys. So I would like to get the middle school kids where I coach at the university. It's a K through 12 over there right now. So I'm trying to implement a program, a learn to swim program. I have the athletic director support, but getting it off the ground has been a slow pace, but we got to put the fire up on it so we can get these kids in, and then I can have a feeder program. That's my goal, have a feeder program.
Now, feeder programs are big. You got to have a feeder program if you're going to compete. And I don't care if it's swimming or wrestling or football, right? You don't have a feeder program. It's too hard, as we know, to start somebody in high school. Correct. I mean, some kids can, but it's more challenging, right?
It is, because for the last 6-7 years I've been coaching, and I get kids in so they can swim, and they can't. Then what I do is I'm coaching and teaching at the same time, and that's very difficult. Very difficult.
You're preaching to the choir. I've done the same thing where I was trying to have that split personality between the guy who was really good or the girl is good, and then also telling someone how to hold their breath.
Right.
Yeah.
One of those now.
Yeah. Okay.
He wants to hold his breath while not.
No, that's not your son, is it?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking, Coach. I'm sorry. It's your dad. I can say those things, right? Yeah. Okay. So what's your battle plan for getting these kids? So what are you planning on doing?
A lot of sacrificing. That's what it takes. Hitting the bricks, passing out flyers, getting the school board behind you. That's the biggest thing, getting the school board, because I already have the AD's support. So it's just a matter of implementing.
Coach, let me ask you, what's it like to coach with your dad?
Good. You get freedom to, he knows what I can do, what I can't do, and so there's always room to just always great to have freedom to to coach your own style and your own ideas.
Now, do you teach at the school too, or are you close by, or what?
Actually, not yet. Like you said, I just came back from Savannah, Georgia. I actually am a special ed teacher. So I'm just going to start. I'm just coming back, transitioning to move back. So I'll be looking to get into the school system, either Detroit DPS or Southfield school system. One or the other. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Well, one thing we want to tell our friends in Georgia that we thank them very much for Matthew Stafford, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. 2-0, baby.
Yeah, well, let's keep it going, right?
Yes.
Anyhow, thank you very much, coaches. Good luck in the meet tonight.
Thank you.
Take care.
Jackie's a great coach here. Love her.
At this time, we ask you to please rise as the playing of the national anthem. Tonight's anthem will be sung by 10th grader Kenzie Finley and 10th grader Sabrina Kirk.
Okay, folks, here we are, Oxford High School Natatorium. Oxford A&T, Arts and Technical versus Oxford High School. First race, the 200-yard medley relay. That's 2 back, 2 breast, 2 fly, 2 freestyle. And if I could, let's take a look real quickly. Let's see what we have. Oxford's going to be lanes 3, 4, 6, and 7. 3, 4, 6, and 7. 200-yard medley relay. Lane 3, Tate Hamilton, Elsa Rodriguez, Caitlin Griffith, Emily McClear. Lane 4, Claire Alexander, Grace Charnstrom, Ashley Welk, Jenna Fissler. Lane 6, Peyton Bailey, Emily Viken, Kinsey Jones, Nellie Charnstrom, and lane 7, Paige Hodder, Mackenzie Finley, Grace Vogler, and Jehan Maxwell. Hey, Coach.
Good to see you.
2 lengths back. As we always like to say at these meets, the big thing we want to watch for is a nice exchange. There's no disqualifications. That's what our 2 officials are going to be watching for, amongst other things. And away they go! 2 lengths backstroke. Now what you see here, that flag, as we like to say, draped across the pool, is to remind the backstrokers how close they are to the end of the pool. Okay, now we're going to have 2 lengths breaststroke. But both officials are watching to make sure that the swimmer coming in touches the wall before the next one leaves. It's a very important timing issue. You don't want to jump too soon, but you don't want to be sitting there lingering and losing time. Huge lead for the Wildcats.
Grace Vogler, Mackenzie Finley, behind that.
Now following the breaststroke is the butterfly. Both breaststroke and butterfly require two-hand touch on the wall, otherwise disqualification. All right, there we go. Lane 4, way ahead. Here comes lane 6, lane 3, and lane 7, all Wildcats. Score on relays, you get a lot of points in relays, so when you're in a tight meet, you want to pick up relay points. 8-4-2, so first place gets 8 points, second 4, the third gets 2. So here again, the very first race of the night, Oxford just takes a big lead. Southfield Arts and Technical only has 6 athletes competing tonight, and I understand they have no divers. Boy, some nice technique over there for the Southfield Warriors. I see some good swimming. Looks like both the coaches of Southfield have done a nice job teaching technique. Some good stroke technique, some good kicking I see over there from the Southfield swimmer. Okay, our next race is going to be the 200-yard freestyle. That's 8 lengths. Every length of a high school pool in the United States is 25 yards. When you deal with international competition, the pools are more than 2 times the length of this pool. International competition pools are typically 50 meters.
Did you get times for that
Once again, 200 yards, 8 lengths. This is always an interesting race to swim and an interesting, or I'll say challenging race to coach, because it's not a sprint. I mean, there's no way in heck you can sprint 8 lengths. So if you watch the Olympics or college swimmers or the high school state championship, you think it's a solid sprint, but it's too long to be a pure sprint. At the same token, I don't know if we can really call it a distance race, so we'll just compromise and use that phrase, middle distance. So you get into the idea that you want to go hard on this race. You can't back off, but you can't burn out too early either. So you get into that pacing. So when you're coaching and you're looking at your athlete and you're saying, all right, is she going to be one of these people that goes out fast and then hangs on, or is this somebody that just kind of goes out a little bit slow and then churns it up at the end of the race? And then part of coaching is helping the swimmer know what their personal pace should be if they want to set a certain time. So if we take an 8-length race like the 200 freestyle and divide it in 50-yard increments, you might say to somebody, okay, the first 50 you're going to do in 30 seconds. Maybe the second 50 is going to be 34, and then 35, and then you bring it home hard, maybe you bring it back down to 31, something like that. So pacing on the 200 is something that the top athletes all do. And here again in the 200, since it's a middle distance, a little bit more challenging than a 50-yard race where you basically just go guts out. Okay, here we go, folks. Oxford's in lanes 1, 2, 4, 6, 7. Basically, let's just say it this way. Southfield is in lanes 3 and 5. For the Wildcats in lane 1, that's the lane closest to the camera, Tabitha Sterner. Lane 2 for the Wildcats, Maggie Pill. Lane 4 for the Wildcats, Rachel Cummins. Lane 6, Victoria McLennan.
Lane 6, Victoria McClanahan.
I think they say
Lane 7,
McClanahan in Gaelic. And in lane 7, Maddie Johnson. Once again, one of the things you watch in swimming the freestyle, which is also called the crawl stroke, you want to, let's talk about the kicking. The kicking, the toes, you tell your body to point the toes, even though they actually don't point, but you do that so you don't want to bend the knees too much. Another thing when you watch is watch the arm movement. Elbows, as they come over the water, the elbows should be up. You don't want those elbows dragging on the water. Elbows high in the sky. You know, another part of freestyle swimming is the breathing. I'm not just talking about the endurance, but the technique part is the head and the face should be down in the water. And just a quick turn to the side to catch your breath. So going back to our race here, lane 4, boom, for the Wildcats. Lane 6, lane 2, and here's Maddie. So let's call it a clean sweep. Oxford High School. A clean sweep for Oxford High School. Let's get some names out there again. That's Tabitha Sterner, Maggie Pill, Rachel Cummins, Victoria McClanahan, and Maddie Johnson. If you watch our Southfield swimmer, you can see what I was saying. She's done a nice job right there, getting her elbows up high. Now, she's got her legs bent too much. Should be a little bit straighter than that. But she had some nice arm technique. Probably work a little bit more on endurance, and that'll come along. Our third race tonight is the IM, individual medley. That means like a medley. It's a mixture, a salad medley, if you will. This is 8 lengths coming up. All 4 strokes are elements of this race. And once again, this is Oxford Community Television. Rod Charles with the microphone. Russell Courier with the camera. All right, 2 lengths butterfly to start. It's 2 fly, 2 back, 2 breast, to 2 free. And as I like to remind everyone, you've got to make sure it's a 2-hand simultaneous touch every time they turn and when they finish for butterfly and breast. So every one of them looks legal. That's good. And let's take a look here. So for the Wildcats, we have Kinsey Jones in 3, Addie Bishop in 4, and Maddie Levins in lane 6. Now Southfield, lane 5, Lydia Meekoff. Okay, now 2 lengths breaststroke. You watch the breaststroke, one of the things you watch is it should be a long, long stretch out in front of your body. With those hands way out there. A common mistake in breaststroke is when the arms are pulling back, they come back too far. If you watch the good breaststrokers, they have a long reach in front, and they come back, it comes back no farther than their face. For all of us who just do some recreational swimming in the pool or the lake, we pull our arms way back because we're not worried about speed. Okay, 2 lengths freestyle now. IM's a great race. A lot of fun, all 4 strokes. Well, another victory for the Wildcats here at Oxford High School. Oxford Community Television, charter station 191, and AT&T is 99. So we like our 9s around here.
The first heat is all Oxford.
Okay, now we have 2 heats of the same race, the 50-yard freestyle. 50 is the shortest race there is in high school swimming. Also, typically the shortest race you have in college swimming, too, though once in a while they do a 25 just for fun. So 2 lengths, and obviously in a short race every element is going to be magnified. You've got to have a very, very clean, fast start. And you got to hit that wall and a good, hard, clean turn. You can't be lollygagging at the end of the pool. So lane 1, Claire Lang. 2, Alexis Johnson. 3, Brooke Madzik. 4, Anna DeMeglio. 5, Audria Manzik. 6, Izzy Frechette. Lane 7, Paige Dell. 8, Lauren Champagne. 2 lengths. Nice swimming we see right here. Good hard kick for a short race. Nice job. Nice job. You can tell that I've been working on this. Here again on a short race like a 50, what we want to see is a sharp, hard kick. On a distance race, you don't want to see too much of a hard kick early on. But on a 50 and 100, it's got to be an intense kick. And like every freestyle race, you want to get your arms out, elbows up. The churn rate on your arms is going to be obviously faster on a short race than a 500 or 1,000-yard race. Okay. Heat 2 for the Wildcats. Lane 1, that's closest to the camera here, is Grace Nunez. Next to Grace, we have Emily McClear. Then in lane 4 for the Wildcats, Jenna Fistler. Lane 6 for the Wildcats, Grace Charnstrom. Lane 7, Laura Mace, whose mom is collecting tickets tonight. And lane 8 for the Wildcats, Elsa Rodriguez. 2 lengths. Well, there you go. Look at that. You see that high intensity that we're talking about. Head should stay down. Keep that head down. Some pretty nice times there. I see first place was a 26.5. Second was a 27.4. Some low 30s across the pool for everybody else. So that was a nice 50-yard race. Okay. What we're going to do now is diving.
5 minutes?
Now there's 6 dives. Each diver does 6 dives. We have 3 divers, all from Oxford tonight.
Swimmers, the main pool is open for a warm down. Please take a
Diver's going to warm up for a minute. Let me ask the diving coach, John, what's the required dive tonight?
Required dive is reverse. It's reverse weed.
dive.
Yep.
You go with the challenging dives early in the season, huh?
Reverse is easy.
It's easy. He says it's easy. Okay. Anyhow, this is Rod Charles, and let me just share this about diving a little bit before we take a break here. Every meet, there is a required dive, and part of the idea of having a required dive is that the divers that are required to learn all the dives, they can't just do the same dive every single time. Tonight's required dive is the reverse dive. Coach Pearson chuckled and said it's an easy dive. I don't know, personally I would hate to do it. I've done it, and it scares the dickens out of me. What you do in a reverse dive is you come off the board and you literally reverse your body and come back towards the board. I find that kind of intimidating, but then again, I don't like roller coasters either. So anyhow, let's take a break right now. We've got 3 divers from Oxford, and as we said, the required dive is the reverse dive tonight. Okay, getting ready to roll. Our diving coach for the Oxford Wildcats, Mr. John Pearson, who does a little bit of double duty at Romeo High School, home with the Bulldogs. Once again, Oxford Community TV, Mr. Russell Courier manning the camera.
first time Emily Gata. She's doing the 101C.
Emily Gata.
Difficulty 1.2.
Forward dive tuck. The DD on this is 1.2. That's degree of difficulty. Okay, we have a 3-judge panel per usual. 4.5 for 3.5. So you math majors can figure that's an average of 4. Getting ready for our next diver. We're getting the scorers table lined up here.
You say score 2 more times? There's divers
Like,
coming up.
Hit score.
Coach Pearson's coming to the scorer table just to kind of make sure that the system is operating as we expect it to work. Once again, we have 6 dives for every diver. Tonight's required dive is a reverse dive. We have 3 judges. John Pearson, who represents Oxford, Larry Nunnery, who represents Southfield, and Jason Lashevich, who is the official tonight. We'll call him the neutral guy.
I'm going to need you to tell me the scores for that last time. 4.5.
Okay, Kira's up on the board. 1 meter diving board. Veltigian, Kiara Veltigian.
Reverse dive pike, difficulty 1.7.
She's doing a reverse dive, pike position. The difficulty is 1.7. Wow. Boy, she got some great height off the board. Nice entry. Beautiful. And she gets a 7, a 5.5, and an 8.
7, 5, 5, 8.
I don't know about that 5.5. If that's Jason, we're going to have to throw him in the pool.
Inward dive tuck, difficulty 1.4.
Okay.
Score, yes.
Emily Gata,
2.
inward dive,
Score.
tuck 1.4. And our 3-judge panel. Here again, Larry Nunnery from Southfield. It's 4-4-4, so we have unanimity of opinion on that one. Larry Nunnery, Jason Leshevitz, our official, and John Pearson, our diving coach for Oxford. Diver number 3 coming up.
Kira is doing a 303B, reverse, 1.5 somersault.
Kira's doing a reverse dive, 1.5 somersaults, pike position. Okay, this is 2.4 difficulty, the most difficult dive of the evening so far. Wow, good height off the board. Probably wanted a little bit cleaner entry. 7.65. But good height off the board, good technique. Probably wish she could have lined up her body straight as she entered the pool. That's one of the impressions that the diving judges always have, is the entry.
Diver 1.
Okay, we're on diver, the first diver now. By the way, the score was 7.65 on that last dive. Okay, now we have Emily. She's doing a back dive tuck. The difficulty rating on this is 1.5. Nice dive. And the math on this is pretty simple. It's you take the 3 judges' scores, multiply by the degree of difficulty. 4.5, 4.56. So if you're trying to win a diving competition, be it a dual meet or a regional competition or whatever else, state competition, you want to do a good dive, whatever it is, but it's very helpful to have dives that are rated as more challenging because you get more points. So a 2.4 dive versus a 1.4, obviously there's a greater opportunity, albeit it's more difficult.
1.5 somersault pike, difficulty 2.3.
Now Kiera's doing a back with 1.5 somersaults, pike. This difficulty rating is 2.3. Good dive. And let's see, judges give her 6.5, 6, and 6.5. So she's racking up some good points here on these difficult dives. Very impressive. Oxford's very fortunate to have diving coaches. Most schools don't have one. So the swim coach typically rotates between swimmers and divers, and that gets to be very difficult to do. Here again, we've had a diving coach here pretty much since the program started. Okay, Emily's doing a 1.5 difficulty dive. It's a back dive with 1 somersault, tuck position. And tuck means tuck. You pull your knees in towards your chest, so you spin faster. Oop. Didn't quite get her arms down. Good start to the dive. And the judges gave her 2 and 0 and 0.
Kira is doing a 403C inward, 1.5.
Okay, here comes Kira.
Difficulty 2.2.
Inward dive, 1.5 somersault, tuck. The difficulty rating is 2.2. As I mentioned earlier, when you do a dive with a tuck, the idea is you put your hands around your knees, you pull your knees up toward your tummy, toward your chest. The tighter you tuck, the faster you spin. So if you're doing 2 somersaults, obviously it's a tighter tuck. 1, not as much. Let's see how she does. 1.5 somersaults. Very, very good dive. Very nice. Wow. Great. 7.76. I'd have given her 777s myself. By the way, when we watch diving and you're watching this on the screen, you'll see underneath the diving board there's some water squirting out. The purpose of that is to create some ripples on the surface of the water so the divers get a perspective on how far they are from the surface while they're spinning through the air. Here again, if the water's still and clear, they don't know how far they are from the surface. So that's the purpose. That in schools where they don't have that thing squirting out, a colleague will sit and splash just so there's some ripples in the water. Here we've got the pump pushing the water out. Other schools, somebody just kicks in the water while the diver's doing it, so there's some ripples.
For a 5th dive, Kira is doing a 104B, forward 2 somersault, height difficulty 2.3.
Kara's doing a forward dive, 2 somersaults, pike position. So a dive like this, you need to get some good height because you're doing 2 somersaults and it's pike instead of tuck. So your body needs more time to open up and get in the water cleanly. Great height. Good dive. I'm sure the coach will say maybe a little bit too much forward momentum as she entered the water. And she gets a 7.5, 5.5. But here again, that's a dive that has a high degree of difficulty, so she gets a nice point total on that. Last round of diving coming up. It's going quick when you only have 3 divers, and as I said, Southfield doesn't have any. We have 3 divers here at Oxford. Typically a school will have at least 3 divers. Some schools have many, many more, but 3 is the, I'll say minimum expectation, though obviously in this case Southfield doesn't have anyone.
For the 6th and final dive of the evening, Kira is doing a 105C, forward 2.5 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.4.
Okay, Kira's final dive here at Oxford High School Natatorium. Forward dive, 2.5 somersaults, tuck position. This is rated at 2.4. So as we said, tuck, you pull your knees in, and you need that spinning to get in all your somersaults. If you don't get enough of a tuck, you can't spin fast enough. And you want to enter the water cleanly, as straight as you can, toes pointed. Nice dive, nice height. I'm going to give her a 6. Judges give her 7.5, 5.5.
And that concludes our diving.
And there we go. There's our diving for the evening.
Parents, remember that concession stand is still open.
So right now, we're going to have a little bit of a warm-up for the swimmers, get a chance to loosen up a little bit before the next part of swimming takes place. The swimmers get 10 minutes to get wet, get ready for the race. So when we come back, we'll be starting with swimming. And without knowing what the score is, I think it's pretty safe to say that Oxford is way ahead. Good chance for the swimmers to work on techniques, even though we always like to have competition to make us better. Southfield needs some more swimmers to provide that competition. They don't have it. But if you're an Oxford athlete, you get to compete against yourself. How good did you do last week? Did I swim the 100 fly in 102? Maybe this week I do a 101. It's one of the great things about swimming and diving is there's a lot of ways to be a winner. Not just first place, second place, third place, but you can also do a PB, do your personal best. So that's it. Let's take a quick break and let the swimmers get wet.
Our OCTV news team, bringing your news closer to home. With local news anchors Elgin Nichols and Terry Stiles, Julie Hogan with calendar of events, Cody Wright with sports, and David Kenny with Auto Talk and Science in the News. OCTV, serving Oxford, Leonard, and Addison communities for over 29 years.
Okay, folks, we're ready to rock and roll. We got the 100-yard butterfly, 4 lengths fly, and Rachel Baker, a able swimmer here at Oxford, is going to read the names of the 100 butterfly swimmers and their lanes. Take it away, Rachel Baker.
Lane 3, Paige Hodder. Lane 4, Nellie Sharnstrom. Lane 5, Maggie Pill. Lane 6, Laura Mace.
Well, the next thing you know, she's going to be on Good Morning America doing whatever. Okay, 4 lengths butterfly. A lot of people associate this event with Mark Spitz or Michael Phelps. When you watch the butterfly, here again, you want to see a 2-hand touch. The kick is a dolphin kick. When you watch the technique on butterfly, a couple of things to watch. The head should stay fairly low. You don't want it too high and create resistance or muscle strain. Let that chin ride on the water. Okay, keep the head low. And when the arms come over your head, you want to have a thumb entry. Almost like you're giving someone a thumbs down sign. Put those thumbs in the water first. Keep the head down. The kick, the dolphin kick, both feet are working together simultaneously. Dolphin kick is a very strong, strong kick. Swimmers at a Mark Spitz, Michael Phelps level can do 100 yards under a minute just kicking. Okay, first place, lane 4, about a 1:16. So once again, as announced by Rachel Baker, lane 3, Paige Hodder, lane 4. Let's see what we have here. Oops. Lane 4, Nellie Sharnstrom. Lane 5, Maggie Pill. Lane 6, Laura Mace. Now the next race is a 100-yard freestyle. We're going to have 2 heats. Let's take a look here. Lane 3 for Oxford, we have Paige Dell. Lane 4, Tabitha Sterner. Lane 5, Brooke Manzik. And lane 6, Skylar Goik is swimming in lane 6. Four lengths freestyle. Once again, let's talk about technique. Okay, 100-yard, fairly hard and fast race. You gotta have a strong start to this race. And since it's a relatively short race, those turns better be crisp. You can't afford to blow a turn on a short race. On a 500 or 1,000, a little more forgiveness because there's more opportunity to make up lost ground, but not on a 50 or 100. Once again, on freestyle, you want the head down, and breathing is a quick breath to the side. You kind of breathe under the armpit. That's where you breathe, pull in, and then while your face is in the water, you're blowing air out through your nose and through your mouth. Wow, close race over here between the Oxford swimmers. Some nice, good times here. Some good technique as well. Okay, heat 2, lane 2. That's closest to the camera. Anna DeMeglio. Lane 4, Ashley Welk. Lane 6, Peyton Bailey. Lane 8 for the Wildcats, Grace Nunez. And away they go. 4 lengths. Here again, man, you want to see a strong kick just like we're seeing right now. All out, no reason to hold back. Nice split by Ashley. You watch Ashley's stroke, you see that strong kick for a short race. Keeps her head down. Nice, good turn here in lane 4. That was a great turn. You also notice, going back to the breathing, she keeps her head low and a quick side turn to get some oxygen. Let's check out her time. It's looking good. Wow. Looks like she's about a 55.8. That's an eyeball time. Haley Kornberger, who's an outstanding swimmer here for Oxford, who now swims for Michigan State, has the school record at 53.4. Ashley just did it a fantastic time of 55.25. That's a great time. The other thing, as I mentioned earlier, what's one of the great things about swimming and diving is, first of all, everybody gets to participate. Nobody sits and watches. There's 8 lanes here at Oxford High School, 2 diving boards, so everybody gets to compete as long as they follow the rules and do the things that coaches want to do. And the other thing about competition is everybody can win because you got your personal best along with your team effort as well. Let's take a look here. Let's ask Rachel Baker. Rachel, come over here for a minute. Rachel swam the 500 a little bit in some other races in high school. Tell us what your thoughts were about the 500 freestyle.
The 500 freestyle is really one of my favorite events because you start out and you don't have to go for broke. It's all strategy, and even if you're not the fastest swimmer, it's all about endurance. It's not about giving it your all in the first lap or two. It's about pacing yourself and pushing yourself strategically throughout the entire race so you can really win it in the end.
So did you practice that in practice?
that was really where all of the dedication goes. And our coach did and still does distance sets. So we swim 1,000, 1,500s, and we really work distance.
Did you work on pacing?
Oh yes, that's the entire game.
Well, how did you work on pacing? What did you specifically do other than just think about it?
We do breath control, and it's a combination of experience and information passed down from.
Okay, but the question is what did you actually do?
It wasn't about like drills or sets or anything.
So did you time yourself on splits in practice?
Yeah, we did splits, and we would have our friends would help us too.
So you would know like your 100-yard time and stuff like that. That's what I was going with knowing how to pace yourself and knowing where you are.
You follow it through your splits, absolutely. Your 50 splits and your 100 splits. When it's in the 500 and events like the 1,000, it all comes down to your 100 splits.
Right, and as you said, the 500 is a totally different ball game. You know, like they say in track, when the going gets tough, the sprinters drop out.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. That's why not everyone can do distance.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. We'll catch you again in a couple minutes.
For the Wildcats, in lane 3, Izzy Frechette.
Okay.
In lane 4, Emily Buchanan.
Here we are, the 500. That's 20 lengths of the pool, the longest race in high school swimming, 20 lengths. As Rachel just said, it's something that you have to have a mindset for as well as the physical training. And as I was, helping her say this is, in practice, it's just not just swim. You have to have there should be some method to the madness. So if you're doing a 20-length race, what's your time for the first 100 yards? What's your time for the second 100 yards? And the third, and the fourth, and the fifth? So you want to get an idea. If I want to swim the 500 freestyle, let's say I want to do it in 6 minutes, and maybe my first 100 is going to be in 1:15 or 1:10. You want to know where you are, have that feel in your body for your own personal pacing. When you watch the Olympics or watch the NC2As or the Michigan State Championship, those high caliber swimmers have a very, very good idea of where they are in their own pacing. And everybody has their own pacing. Everyone's, as Rachel was saying, some people could go out a little bit fast, other people come home a little bit harder. And as we watch these swimmers across the pool, notice the difference between their kicking versus the swimmers doing the 50 or the 100. A lot slower kicking. There's no sense to burn up all your energy in a kick. Kicking does not provide that much forward propulsion. The arm movement's a little bit slower too. 20 lengths. Now this is also a college race. Though in college they also do 1,000, and sometimes you go to some meets so they do 1,650. But in high school swimming, it's the 500-yard freestyle. So let's take a look what we have going on here. First thing, if we look across the pool, lane 3, Izzy Frechette. Lane 4, Emily Viken. Lane 6, Lydia Meekoff. And lane 7, Kaylin Griffith. Lane 5, Lydia, is obviously for Southfield A&T. By the way, Oxford in swimming is part of the OAA Blue Division, Oakland Athletic Association Blue. There's a red, there's a white, and there's a blue. And in some sports, there's also a gold. The division amongst the red, white, and blue is for size of school as well as competitiveness. So 20 lengths. If you look at the end of the pool, one of the things you'll notice is teammates are holding up a placard so the swimmers know how far they've gone so they don't lose count. Let me ask Rachel a question about that. We'll pick on Rachel. Let's pick on Rachel tonight. Rachel, when you were swimming the 500, did you ever know how many lengths by looking at the placard at the end? Did you ever get a chance to see those, or is that just there for decoration?
Well, I have to admit, it's a bit of combination of both. You do your own counting in your head. One of my friends, Claire Alexander, she's in the pool right now. She actually said, I rarely ever look at the counter. I was her counter almost every time. And I only swam the 500 off and on. I really liked it, though. And you use a combination of looking at it and counting in your own head. Because when you are focused on counting and looking at the counter, you're breaking your concentration.
So have you ever lost track of how many laps you've done?
actually, and that's when you're glad the counter is there and you pray that that counter is doing their job well.
Right. I've actually seen many people. In fact, I remember the Olympics in the prelims. I forgot the name of the swimmer, but they lost track during the Olympic trials. So those are some pretty high caliber athletes who do a lot more training than what we're going to see around here typically.
It happens to the best of all of the swimmers. All
Yeah,
of
we
us.
just don't want it happening to a 50-yard swimmer, do we?
Oh no, that would be unfortunate. That would be, especially because they wouldn't be able to count that high.
Well, we'll have to see if that ever happens.
Right.
Okay, so as Rachel said, we've got the counters at the end of the pool so we can keep an eye on what's going on. And even if the swimmers can't see it, we can see it. And as we were saying earlier, totally different pace, though normally what you're going to see at the end of a race is the pace goes up tremendously. Rachel, what was your favorite type of practice other than short ones? That's a joke.
Well, my favorite types of practices were a lot of distance sets. I really liked it because it pushed me. I'm a sprinter naturally, and I wanted to get good at distance simply because it was the hardest thing. There's a lot of pride in being a distance swimmer. So when we did distance sets, it was always the hardest but most rewarding practices.
I see. What about strokes other than freestyle?
Well, you got backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly. And
Well, let me ask you another question. The horn just went off. That's to indicate the lead swimmer's got 2 lengths to go. Is that something you could hear in the pool while you were swimming?
yes, and let me tell you, there is no worse feeling than being in last place and hearing that horn, because you know how much further you have to go. And especially, I think it's even worse if you're neck and neck with someone, and because you have all that adrenaline pumping through you. It's useful, but it could also be debilitating if you let that stress overwhelm you.
I see. That's good input. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I mean, people watching and listening, that's some good input. Okay, let's see what we have here. Pretty commanding event here for Oxford again. We've taken first place in every event tonight. Unsurprisingly, I must say. Our next race is going to be the 200-yard freestyle. Relays are always great fun. We had 4 swimmers. In this case, everyone's doing 50 yards. And as I said earlier, what's really special about this is here at Oxford, everybody gets to compete. And that's what all of us parents want to see. And every athlete wants to compete. Okay, let's take a look here. 200-yard freestyle. Wildcats going to be in lanes 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Southfield has 1 entry in lane 5. The Southfield outstanding swimmer is Lydia Meekoff. But anyhow, let's take a look at lane 2. So let's turn over to Rachel. Let's give her a little, verbal training here. You want to read the swimmers in lane 2 and lane 3 for us, Rachel?
Lane 2, Claire Lang, Lauren Champagne, Alexis Johnson, Paige Dell. Lane 3, Jahan Maxwell, Paige Hodder, Addie Bishop, and Elsa Rodriguez.
Okay, that's lane 2?
Yes.
Why don't you go with lane 3 with her?
Oh, yes.
Huh?
All right, yep.
Go right ahead.
Lane 4, Kira Veltigian, Peyton Bailey, Rachel Commons, and Victoria McClanagan. Lane 6, Maddie Johnson, Emily Gata, Maddie Lovens, and Kaylin Griffith. And lane 7, Anna DeMiglio, Audrey Manzik, Grace Nunez, and Brooke Manzik.
Okay. She must. Like every other relay race, the key thing to watch is to make sure there's no disqualifications based on someone jumping too quickly. Jason Lechevitz, our official, closest to the camera, and then across the pool we have Debbie Bunker Plasters. I guess one name wasn't good enough, so she's Bunker Plasters. I say that as a joke. one of the nice things about our meets here at Oxford is we have two officials, and Jason and Debbie are both very, very good officials. They both have got a lot of experience, and they both know the rules. So it's a real bonus to have both Jason and Debbie officiating. Here we go. Oxford in the lead. Oxford's got a 1-3.
Victoria McKenna. In lane 6, Maddie Johnson, Emily Kida. Maddie Lovins, Galen Griffith. In lane 7, Anna DeMaglio, Audrey Manzur, Grace Luna, Brooke Manzur.
I see Victoria McClenaghan's over in lane 4. I'm here with her dad. He wants to let everyone know how to say the name.
It's McClenaghan.
You better say that with gusto, my friend.
With gusto? McClenaghan.
McClenaghan.
That's a good try. Good try.
Okay, good try, he said. Gosh, I feel like I want to swim. Let's try it. Let's try 3 times. Let's have him say it one more time.
Here she goes. Hang on. Here she goes. My daughter's about to go.
Okay.
Say McClenaghan 3. McClenaghan, McClenaghan, McClenaghan.
Got that harsh consonant in there for that again. And there she goes. Nice technique. Nice technique. Let's see, watch her turn. Boom. Nice turn. Hits the wall nice there, Dad.
Yes, she does.
Real quickly, what's her best time in the 100?
I have no idea.
I won't tell her. But she has good time.
I taught her everything she knows.
I should be the deep end. Rachel, were you ever in a relay team that was disqualified?
Actually, no, I wasn't. But my
Is that
dad.
because you didn't do it or they didn't catch you?
Well, I've definitely gotten close. I've gotten nearly disqualified multiple times before, but
Like for what reason?
well, for flinching on the block, and I did an illegal turn on one of my breaststroke events.
What,
yeah.
one-handed touch or something?
Yeah, it was.
One-handed touch is verboten.
Yep. And when I went for it, it was just a really weird race, and I was off. My pace was off, and so it messed up my turn. And they let it slide though.
Yeah, I remember one time myself, years ago in high school, I won a league championship because my competitor did the same thing you said. So I want to thank you for inspiring him, even though it was probably reverse time frame.
Right.
All right, we've got the 100-yard backstroke, and we've got Oxford swimmers. And once again, let's have our guest, Rachel, announce the Oxford swimmers, okay?
100-yard backstroke. Lane 1, Emily McClear. Lane 2, Mackenzie Finley. Lane 3, Ashani Jewell. Lane 4, Claire Alexander. Lane 5, Brianna Lovejoy. Lane 6, Tate Hamilton. And lane 7, Grace Vogler.
Well, a couple of tips on watching backstroke. The flags are there so the backstrokers don't bang their head against the wall. They can pace themselves. Another thing to watch on backstroke is when you watch the arms as they come over the head, you want the little finger to enter the water first. And then once the hand enters the water, it does an S pull underneath. So you get maximum leverage. It's like Claire Alexander in lane 4 is significantly ahead. Would you agree, Rachel?
Yes, she's a backstroke, very close friend of mine. She swims on Liquid Lightning and Lake Orion year-round swim team, so she's very experienced backstroker. That's her favorite event. She's great at it. The trick to backstroke is rotation, your body rotation. If you're flat in the water, you're not really going to go places. You have to pivot your hips, and the fastest swimmers are those that swim and rotate their body. And Claire does that very well.
It looks like another clean sweep by the Wildcats. And that was a good analysis by Rachel. ask Mr. McClanahan again. I'll pick on him. So what's the favorite race you have of watching your daughter in?
The downhill 100.
The downhill 100, huh?
Yeah, the downhill 100. Yeah.
That's when the water's frozen or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Does she swim on a club in the summer or anything?
No, she doesn't. No. Just at school.
Just at school.
Just at the school. Just to have fun.
Oh, it is fun. It's great fun.
Yes.
Okay, 4 lengths breaststroke coming up. 4 lengths, and you heard Rachel say that one of the reasons you get disqualified is doing a one-hand touch, either on your turns or at the finish. That's some of the things that the officials watch for. 4 lengths breaststroke. You want to reach way out in front. The hands don't come back very hard. They kind of go almost in the shape of an upside-down heart when they're swimming. And the kick, when you're doing recreation swimming, they do a wide kick because you're just trying to conserve energy. In competition, it's a very narrow, sharp kick, almost straight backwards. Let's ask Rachel about breaststroke. What do you tell us a little bit about technique? A little bit about technique.
The technique in breaststroke is perhaps the most difficult next to butterfly, just simply because the kick is so intricate, like you said, and it's all about timing. Once you pull your hands in, immediately your kick starts to go, and it's difficult because your thighs are together, but your calves are the ones that are really moving, and your knees are only slightly shoulder length apart. It's a difficult stroke to master.
Very difficult. Some people say it's even more difficult than butterfly.
I would agree.
You know, it's a very difficult stroke to time and coordinate.
I have a lot of breaststroke in high school.
So let's have you again read the name. Let's just do all 4 swimmers. We got 4 swimmers in this race, and here's Rachel Baker again.
Women's 100-yard breaststroke. Lane 3, Jahan Maxwell. Lane 4, Maddie Johnson. Lane 5, Sydney Williams. Lane 6, Kinsey Jones.
Okay, 4 lengths breaststroke.
Warriors in lane 5, Sydney Williams.
Rachel, while they're swimming, want to tell us what the scoring is on an individual race?
Well, scoring starts, first place gets 8 points, second place gets 6 points, and third place gets 4, I believe, and it's distributed differently in relays. Yep, and then it's 3, 2, 1 for the rest.
Okay, 4 lengths breaststroke. Let's watch the first 50. This looks like the closest race of the night between Oxford and Southfield. Once again, this is Rod Charles here at Oxford High School. Oxford, Michigan, we like to say home of the Lone Ranger. Rachel, what do you think about that home of the Lone Ranger thing?
Well, I think it's really great. The actor that was the Lone Ranger is right here from Oxford. How much better than that?
Oh, yeah. And I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but he and his wife used to do some work with the high school drama class here at Oxford High School years ago.
I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
I think it's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
All right, here we go. It looks like Oxford is going to get a first unless something weird happens. All right, 1-3 for the Wildcats. And I have to say, good job by our Southfield swimmers there. That was a good race. Good job for everybody. Nice to see. Okay. By the way, Rachel's required to say that about the Lone Ranger. It's mandatory. All right, now we're doing our last race, and I'm going to turn it over to Rachel again to read the names of the swimmers. It's the 400-yard freestyle relay. Everybody's doing 4 lengths. Pretty exciting race. So let me turn it over to Rachel. I'm going to give her the sheet with the names on it, and then she can read off the swimmers we've got.
All right, women's 400-yard freestyle. Oxford, lane 2, Tabitha Sterner, Andre Manzik, Maddie Lovins, Grace Vogler. Lane 3, Oxford, Maggie Pill, Emily Viken, Nellie Schoenstrom, and Laura Mace. Lane 4, Oxford, Claire Alexander, Grace Schoenstrom, Jenna Fissler, and Ashley Weltick. Lane 5, Southfield, Kalia Hudson, Lydia Meekoff, Janelle Bryant, and Sydney Williams. Lane 6, Oxford, Victoria McClanagan, Kira Veltigian, and Addie Bishop, and Rachel Commons. Lane 7, Oxford, Emily Gaeta, Izzy Frechette, Mackenzie Finley, and Tate Hamilton.
Okay, good job. So we're going to have to check with Victoria's dad and make sure we get that right pronunciation on McClanagan. You want that harsh consonant in there, he told me. I think you kind of softened it a little bit. So while we're waiting for the race, did you go to the Lone Ranger parade and stuff this year, or were you out of town, huh?
I was actually spending time with my grandparents during the Lone Ranger parade. We had to be rerouted because the parade was right downtown.
I see. You weren't run out on town by General Custer or anything, huh? Okay. He was in the parade, you know.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know he was a hero. General Custer was a hero of the Civil War, and the troops he led in the Civil War were called the Michigan Wolverines. All right, let's get back to business here. 400-yard freestyle relay. Pretty exciting race. You see a pretty strong, intense kick is what we should see. Now, typically, depending on races, a lot of coaches will put their fastest relay team in the middle of the pool, just like in track. Now, remember, this is 4 lengths.
Jenna Fessler, Ashley Welton. Lane 6, Victoria McLean, Kira Veltigian, Addie Bishop, Rachel Commons. And lane 7 for the Wildcats, Emily Gaeta, Izzy Frechette, Mackenzie Finley, and Tate Hamilton.
Here we go. Look, second swimmer. Big lead for the Wildcats. 8:42 scoring for relays. So Rachel, what did you think about morning practices?
Actually, I loved them. Although they were painful, there was nothing better than waking up first thing in the morning, and it was energizing and swimming.
What time did practice typically start in the morning?
5 a.m.
5 a.m., huh?
Yep.
What time did it go to?
5 to 7 is typically how long it ran. We did some distance sets, we did drills. That was the time to really work technique and prepare for the afternoon practice.
And what time did class start, first hour?
7:47, I believe.
So you had time to shower up and get ready for class?
And get dressed, absolutely.
Get dressed, everything like that. Wow.
We were given plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think my wife would have plenty of time, but whatever.
We typically only took 20 minutes getting ready in the locker room, and then we'd be right out. But this race is going really well.
Here, I'm going to let you describe this a little bit. Let me turn the microphone over, Rachel, and tell us what you see.
Sure. All right, that was a great exchange by Oxford in lane 2. Oxford seems to be leading in lane 2 and lane 4. They're doing really well, strong kicking, consistent stroking, and consistent breathing, which is what you want to see in a race like this. You want to pace yourself, but at the same time, know when to turn it on and really kick hard and win the race. All right, we're coming into an exchange in lane 2. Oh, nope. That was just the first length. Yep. Good exchange by lane 4. Yep, lane 4 is really kicking very hard, very strong. That was a very strong start by lane 4. Good exchange by lane 6. Strong, very good. Very fast turn in lane 4 through Oxford. Here we're getting ready for an exchange in lane 2. And solid. Here we go, and that was a finish by Ashley Weltick in lane 4. And Oxford won. Oxford took first in this event. Strong exchange by Southfield in lane 5. And strong start by Southfield, lane 5. Strong finish in lane 6 by Oxford. Another fast finish. The key to getting a finish is really jutting your arm out there and your shoulder and using every last bit of your body length to stretch and hit that mark. I'm going to pass it back to Mr. Rodney.
All right, this is Rod Charles here at Oxford High School. As Rachel Baker was able to say, it's been a pretty good meet. We see some good swimming here for the Oxford Wildcats. And I've got to say, looking at the Southfield swimmer right now, I see some really good swimming, some good technique there. So the nunneries are doing a good job coaching. They just need a few more swimmers to fill out their ranks. But some nice technique there by the coaching staff at Southfield High School. Obviously, Oxford here has had a very, very good team. One of the great things about Oxford, we got a lot of athletes on our team. That's always a plus as well as a lot of fun. Well, without knowing the score, I think it's safe to say Oxford did okay. So let's do one thing here, Rachel. Let me put Rachel up here to say goodbye, and I'll let her go see some of her friends from her high school endeavors. So, Rachel, here's the camera up here. Why don't you just say hello?
Hello.
I'll tell you what, you can say a little bit more than that.
Okay, all right. I'm a high school graduate. I went to school here. I was a part of the International Baccalaureate program, which is a program, it's very independently led. The teachers only guide you. I had to write 6 research papers, and in which 1 miniature thesis paper. And I participated in varsity sports, swimming all through high school, on and off season. I played in the orchestra, in school and out of school. At Oakland.
Do you think the IB program is what helped you keep track of the lengths in the 500?
I wish I could say that, but no, I still struggled nonetheless.
I'm just checking. I didn't know if there's any math skills involved or anything.
No, it was good. And then I also participated in Peter Pan. I starred as Wendy last year in the spring musical.
Well, go on. She did a very nice job coming in the pool tonight. She thought it was a soccer match, and I had to tell her it was going to be a swimming and diving meet, but once she figured it out, she did a great job. So, Rachel, thank you very much. Maybe we'll have to have you come back for another swim and dive meet, okay?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. All right, once again, this is Rod Charles and Mr. Courier on the camera. So I hope that everyone enjoyed the announcing. And if you enjoyed the camera work, then send a check to Mr. Courier at OCTV. Tell Bill Service that he did a great job. But once again, Oxford High School dominated the meet tonight pretty clearly across the board. Won every race, won the diving. Did a nice job. A lot of good swimming here. We tried to talk about the techniques of the swimmers. We talked about the diving. But as we keep saying, I think there's a lot of winners here, be it a first place or not. A lot of personal bests and a lot of personal achievements. So this is Rod Charles signing off for Oxford Community Television.